I'm okay. We hope that she is. Pray and hope that she is okay.
Thank you. I'm here. That means she's better.
Okay. Otherwise, we were going to be missing 2 witnesses. Good.
She's watching me right now.
Well, good.
Hi, Mom. She's doing a great job.
You're doing excellent. She's a proud mom, and that's some good medicine in and of itself right there.
Thank you.
So we're glad for that. Dr. Brockman, you in your statement say that your mission was to actually make sure that artificial intelligence benefited people and was better for the most economically valuable work. You remember that?
So
it's in your written statement.
Yeah, that's right. So our definition of what AGI will be, whether created by us or anyone else, but just the milestone is a system that can outperform humans at economic value.
Let me read it to you real quick. I'm Greg Bachman, co-founder of nonprofit and development organization. Mission is to ensure that artificial general intelligence, by which we mean highly autonomous systems that outperform humans at, quote, most economically valuable work, end quote, benefits all humanity. How would you define most economically valuable work?
So I think that again, and first of all, I just the question of AGI is something that the whole field has been working towards for really since the beginning of the field 50 years ago, and so the question of how to define it, I think, is something that is not entirely agreed upon. That our definition is this, and when we think of it, we think of you think about things like starting companies or very very high intellectual work like that. And also to things like going and cleaning up disaster sites or things that humans would be unable to do very well today.
Okay, well, I noticed that in your disagreement that Congressman Lipinski referred to with the report, and you call them Silicon Valley upstarts. At least you didn't call them young upstarts, so that's an advantage. Thank you for doing that. But you're literally looking at a new industry that, even though the shift, bless you, even though the shift is going to be changing, you're actually creating jobs for another industry. And going back to Dr. Lee's example with her mom in the IU, talking about how much the nurses do, how do you train for those jobs if it's moving as fast as you think it is?
Yeah, and so one thing I think is also very important is that I don't think that we have much ability to change the timeline to this technology. I think that there are a lot of stakeholders, there are a lot of different pieces of the ecosystem, and that what we do is we step back and we look at the trends and we say what's going to be possible when. And so I think that the question of how to train, again, that's going to be something we're not the only ones that are going to have to help answer that question. But I think that the place to start, it really comes back to measurement, right? If we don't know what's coming, if we can't project well, then we're going to be taken by surprise. And so, I think that there are going to be lots of jobs, and already have been created jobs that are surprising in terms of, you think about with autonomous vehicles, that we need to label all this data. We need to make sure that these systems are doing what we expect, and that all of that there's going to be humans that are going to help make these systems.
But we would all agree, I hope, and on this question for all 3 panelists, all 3 witnesses, that the jobs they're going to create are well worth the transformation into all of that technology. Dr. Persons, would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Let me give you a quick example, if I may. Speaking with a former Secretary of Transportation recently, just a simple example of toll booth collectors. We have now a system where the Easy Pass, you drive through, and you have less of a workforce there that could have had an impact at that time for a short period on the number or loss of jobs for toll booth collectors, and yet it freed them up and enabled them to perhaps do other things that were needed in large problems.
And Mr. Brockman, you were shaking your head. You would agree with that statement.
Absolutely. I think that the purpose of technology and improvement is to improve people's lives.
So, Dr. Lee, I see you shaking your head too.
Yeah, absolutely. In addition to the example Mr. Persons provide, I think deeply about the jobs that are currently dangerous and harmful for humans, from fighting fires to search and rescue to natural disaster recovery. Not only we shouldn't put humans in harm's way if we can avoid it, but also we don't have enough help in these situations, and this is where technology should be of tremendous help.
Very quickly, I'm out of time. Just yes or no. If we lose dominance in AI, that puts us in a really bad spot in worldwide comparatives. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank you. Good question.